The US government debt is approaching 37 trillion. Silver cannot be printed, whereas the US has been engaged in endless wars since the 1990s, all funded by printed money. Silver cannot be printed and remains a hedge against currency debasement. Whereas inflation continues to erode the value of paper savings, silver preserves purchasing power across generations. Whereas central banks manipulate official data to mask real price increases, silver's value and price discovery is today still 90% undervalued, and global markets will soon recognize and price this in. Whereas stock markets soar while insiders sell off, silver provides a tangible asset immune to Wall Street's illusions and volatility. Whereas the US dollar weakens and foreign nations abandon it for trade, silver stands as a universally accepted store of wealth. Whereas digital currencies and stablecoins bring surveillance and control, silver remains outside the system, untraceable and free. Whereas governments can freeze or confiscate digital assets in times of crisis, silver is physical, portable, and impossible to erase. Whereas the middle class is being wiped out by debt and inflation, silver offers an accessible lifeline for wealth preservation. Whereas the global financial system teeters on the edge of a collapse, stacking silver is not just an investment, it is a survival strategy. The final stages of the US empire are here. The worst is yet to come. The question is not if but when, and whether you will be prepared. Will you stay free, or will you be swallowed by the system? Thank you for tuning into your daily silver news. This is Silver Slayer, and if you want the latest information of what's happening across the globe and how that affects the price of precious metals, then make sure you click subscribe, and by doing so, you give yourself a chance to get silver shipped straight to your front doorstep for free, because I'm going to be doing a huge silver giveaway very soon. So click subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss the entry video, and like always, may the luckiest stacker win. And unless you live under a rock or you are brand new to the world of precious metals, you've heard and seen Andy Schectman. Well, he runs a company, a precious metals company called Miles Franklin, one of the most respected companies in the business. Well, you can purchase from them. Send an email to info@milesfranklin.com. Let them know Slayer sent you. It helps me out, helps Andy out. Great company, weekly specials. Andy's a good friend of mine, and we'd love if you would support us. Plus, it's a very trusted place. There's a lot of fake silver out there, a lot of scams that are overpricing you. Just, I want you guys to be safe out there, especially the new stackers that don't know where to go. So make sure you hit them up. Now, we're going to be covering a very controversial article, a very opinionated article, a very informational article, maybe a little entertaining as well. This is from the Silver Academy. I'm going to link this article in the description, but it's titled "Silver or Slavery? As America Collapses, Stack Silver Now or Risk Losing Everything When the System Fails." Now, I've mentioned little sayings like this before, where like you're screwed if you don't have silver, and I know that sounds extreme, maybe a little over exaggerated, but it's not if we're talking about either leaving your money in your bank account or putting it in silver. Then what I'm saying is not an over exaggeration, it's a very realistic warning. The dollar is burning away at a very alarming rate. It's lost 98% of its purchasing power, and that is not a number that's going to start regressing. 99% will come, 100% will happen. Every single fiat-based system fails. It's designed to fail. When the dollar dies and chaos erupts, silver stands as your last defense. Protect your wealth, secure your future, and stack silver today. I'm not trying to scare people, but I really want you all to understand the reality of the situation we're in, because mainstream media will not share this stuff, right? And like I said, this is a very opinionated article, I'm not going to share my 2 cents on it too much. My job is just sharing this information with you. This is written by John Forrest Little. He's exposed a lot. He's one of the authors of silverwars.org that exposed the military's involvement with silver and price suppression and Department of Defense and why they stopped reporting their silver data in 2002. The silver rabbit hole runs very deep. So let's check this out. A systemic collapse in plain sight. The rot is not merely superficial, it is systemic and it is accelerating. For years, oceans of easy money, trillions in printed dollars, and a relentless expansion of credit and debt have poisoned the global economy. We are witnessing and living within the endgame of an empire. The symptoms are impossible to ignore. At every level, sovereign, corporate, and personal, debt has exploded. Price discovery in bonds, stocks, and housing is broken. Real growth is dead. Without new debt, the system collapses. Right? It's like we're trying to get ourselves out of debt by replacing it with more debt. It's like trying to pay off a credit card with another credit card. It's going to catch up, and it has caught up. The true scale of unemployment today is more devastating than during the darkest days of the Great Depression. Yet government data manipulates the numbers, erasing millions from official records and retroactively rewriting history. Over 1/3 of Americans now survive in the shadow economy, scraping by gig to gig, invisible to the system that abandoned them. Imagine the terror when the debt can no longer be rolled over, when the last dollar is spent, and when desperation eclipses hope. Workers left with nothing will take to the streets, turning their fury not just on the state but on each other. A nightmare of violence and chaos that the state apparatus has coldly engineered and now feasts upon. This is the horrifying cannibalism of a collapsing empire orchestrated from the top and designed to consume us all. So that is, it's a very extreme look, but you have to think through situations like this. Since the dollar, the USD, is the world reserve currency, what happens if we default? Or what happens if every country opts out of the dollar like Russia did? Russia about a year and a half, 2 years ago, completely cut ties with the dollar. Then you have like the BRICS nations. They're creating their own new currency called the unit, right? And that's a lot. G7 versus BRICS, which BRICS is Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, but many other countries. I covered the BRICS summit last year, and that's where they showed, or they mentioned the unit, showed a picture of it. That if all those countries abandoned dollars and they all came back to us, what would that do? It would be detrimental. It would be massive. So, look at the government's response, and he's talking about this tweet. Why hasn't ICE arrested the business owners who employed all of the undocumented immigrants they're detaining? Marines, federalized National Guard, are being deployed to the streets using legal technicalities to bypass the Insurrection Act. This is not just about crowd control or immigration. Is it really about illegals as Trump tweets? No. There's a darker agenda at play. Have you noticed that during all those ICE raids, not a single business owner has been arrested, only the workers? Consider the meatpacking plant where employees spend their days on the killing floor, carving up meat for grocery stores. Immigrants are the ones putting the food on the Americans' tables, just as the Bracero program once did. Immigrants do the jobs Americans won't. Roofing, hotel, housekeeping, dishwashing, and caring for the elderly. This engineered trauma is proof that the state is manufacturing culture wars. They are testing the limits of federal power over the states, conditioning the public to accept uniformed troops in civilian life, and monitoring how the media frames the story and how the public reacts. What are they preparing for? So, like I mentioned, folks, you can agree with all this, you can disagree with all this. That's not the point. The whole point is exposing the information, the reality of it. Throwing out ideas and looking at it from certain angles is always a healthy way, especially, when it comes to politics. Don't just don't just be one, a lot of people have a boxed in perspective and can't look outside of that box, which keeps them from looking at things realistically, right, or idealistically. And politics is very hard because if you're on the right or the left, sometimes it's a lot harder to look at things realistically than another situation, right? So, anyways, preparing for unrest, a dry run for control. They know mass civil unrest is coming and it is by design. Economic strain, food inflation, debt collapse, currency debasement are all converging. The California operation is a dry run, a test how to impose order when the system buckles. When the dollar collapses and people take to the streets, will they use the same playbook? Why Marines? Because they are disciplined, rapidly deployable, and less connected to local communities than National Guard troops. This is much a psychological move as a legal one. We are being conditioned to accept martial law in all but name. Behind the scenes, the rot deepens. Suddenly, chain or supply chains and production are hollowed out. Decades of offshoring and easy money have left the U.S. with no domestic resilience. This collapse is not accidental; it's by design. So the cratering economy, deliberate and unstoppable. The cratering is real and it is deliberate. The US and world economies are imploding from within. Central bank rate cuts are a sign of panic, not policy. Inflation is still raging, even as official data is messaged to hide the truth. Why do they keep lying to us? The dollar's in free fall, experiencing its weakest start to the year on record. Nations around the world are building non-dollar trade corridors, like I was mentioning. The era of US financial dominance is finally over. And I mean that this is I covered Ray Dalio, billionaire Ray Dalio, talking about this all as well, especially with silver and how bullish he is. So the Fed will have to buy it all again, full blown QE, which is quantitative easing, but they will call it something else: liquidity support, market stability operations, or balance sheet flexibility. The labels change, but the con remains the same. Why can't they let bond yields rise? Because if yields spike, the entire debt based system implodes. Once they unleash quantitative easing openly, and stealth QE is already in effect, we enter the final death spiral. The dollar weakens further, inflation comes in bigger waves, and the Fed will claim, we must create a better system. This is where the digital control comes in. Or is this? And I think yes. Where you have like CBDC or USDC, right? There's USD coin, there's Tether, which is pegged to the dollar. You have Ripple, which is controlled by central banks. Um, the pattern of empire, division, and decline. Every fallen empire has followed this pattern. As prosperity fades, people turn on each other. Division weakens the nation while the rulers grow richer in the chaos. A nation at war with itself cannot stand. Massive debt funds corruption, money is printed to cover lies, the rich rob the poor through inflation, the government steals the people's future to sustain its power. Is this the fate of America? The collapse of the currency is the physical symptom of the disease. Deficits explode, the dollar dies, and the nation devours itself from within. Institutions collapse, corruption spreads, trust in leadership vanishes, and the middle class is wiped out. We are watching this unfold in real time. Now you have the illusion of prosperity and the road to control. Despite worsening economic news, the stock market hits new highs. Insiders are dumping billions in stocks, but the market keeps rising. Inflation remains unchecked, and the Fed has never taken real action to contain it. Why do they keep pretending? Central banks' power lies in their ability to inflate. They are systematically, deliberately destroying the world economy to usher in a new system of maximum control. This has been the plan all along. The Fed and ECB will cut rates in lockstep. Cutting rates allows them to create vast amounts of cash out of thin air to buy debt. This boosts the stock market but destroys the purchasing power of the currency. How long can this charade last? They are engineering mass social unrest. The ruling class will plant violent insurrectionists at peaceful protests. This will be the excuse to usher in the military. It's what they want. It's an excuse to steal away more freedoms. We are being set up for a great fall. Then they will unfurl the end game, a central bank digital currency with some cute name, right? CBDC, central bank digital currency, CBDC. So, um, They're going into CBDC stablecoins, synthetic CBDCs. Central banks delay the release of CBDCs, quietly ushering in synthetic version through private partnerships. This is not innovation, it's just control by another name. FedNow is live, providing real-time settlement for programmable digital tokens. Wallet systems are being integrated with identity verification. Government agencies are exploring stablecoins for stimulus, food stamps, and universal basic income. This architecture is nothing but a digital prison. The rollout will be wrapped in urgency to protect the people. We are deploying emergency digital wallets with secure programmable dollars. Once adopted, every transaction is tracked and access is contingent on compliance. Do not be trapped inside. And then it goes into the final warning: opt with cash or opt out with cash, be swallowed if you don't have silver. I guess opt with cash and silver out or be swallowed. Do not be deceived by the term private. These stablecoins operate under full government surveillance. Do not normalize digital only transactions. And yes, I mean, the blockchain stores every transaction publicly, folks, right? I mean, it's a double-edged sword. Or I guess you could say it is, some could say it's a win-win situation or a lose-lose situation or a win-lose situation. But regardless, there's pros and cons. The blockchain stores every transaction publicly, which could be good, but it's also bad for these reasons. But I guess it technically could be good because the blockchain is the exact opposite of a central bank. The blockchain, everyone controls the chain. And if something wants to be changed, they have to do voting, right? And it's decentralized. There's no central bank in control. There is no bank of Bitcoin. There's no Bitcoin police. But this currency, this token, this digital currency they're creating will definitely be weaponized and surveilled and held to keep you in prison and monitor and track you. So unemployment today surpasses the darkest days of the Great Depression. Meanwhile, the government lies and masks this catastrophic collapse. Then they go into what I was mentioning in the introduction, right? U.S. government debt's approaching 37 trillion. Silver cannot be printed, right? All these reasons are why my name is Silver Slayer and not Gold Guy, not Bitcoin Boy. It's Silver Slayer because silver is what makes the most sense. Silver, not gold, silver. Gold is still great, right? Gold is great. But silver is definitely the thing that makes the most sense, is the ticking time bomb. Gold is definitely great to store your wealth and has potential and opportunity, and definitely put your fake dollars into gold, not, instead of stocks or whatever. But silver has the potential much further beyond gold, and silver is extremely undervalued compared to gold. So anyways, folks, I'm going to wrap this video up here. I hope you enjoyed it. This article is very, very impressive. John Force Little never ceases to amaze me. He is very, very, very intelligent, and his information is very, very impressive. It's one of a kind, right? Go check out silverwars.org. That website is incredible. So a lot of respect for him. Shout out John Force Little. Shout out Silver Academy for exposing all this information. This was Silver Slayer. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.